All right, this is part 3, continuing where I left off. All right, UFOs are of different types, but one type comes from inside the Earth. And there are many UFOs seen nowadays because the inner people are greatly worried by the atomic explosions taking part on the outer surface of the Earth. After all, if the explosion is big enough, then perhaps the crust of the Earth will be cracked even worse than it is at present, and the whole Earth will perish. Now I must say, from some of the books I have in my storage, by Elijah Muhammad, Elijah said that Farah Muhammad talked to him about a mechanical, man-made planet, which is a mothership, and how that it would destroy America. Now, after reading the books, Ancient Egypt, Light of the World, about the souls of Ra, or the boat of Ra, how that they will come to the west and destroy their enemies. After reading the Bible, where it said that he comes through the cloud displaying awesome power and glory. After reading the book of Ezekiel, where it said he saw these wheels coming out of the earth, and on this wheel he saw the Son of Man, who had the skin of amber, which is a brownish, tannish looking goldish color, which are black people. After reading encounters about some people being saved from a destruction who had looked bewildered and disoriented. After reading the Quran, saying that the Lord is the Lord of Sirius, and we know that our ancient ancestors, all of them paid homage to Sirius, because that is where our souls came from. Okay, I come to the conclusion that maybe Farah Muhammad could be the Lord inside the world. Who knows? Or he could be in that order, which is of Melchizedek. Now let me show you what I mean. According to this book, the people in the inner earth are in the order of Melchizedek. Here we have, know that it is very light here in Telos. Our light is so bright that it lights up the earth and heavens. We work closely with the Melchizedek priesthood. Now we know that the Melchizedek priesthood were the Egyptian high priests. We know that from study, who are here to serve the earth. We are very concerned about the progress that humanity is making on the surface. You know why? Because they're scared they're going to blow some shit up, like we just read in the book Twilight by Tuesday Law of St. Rample. See? In Telos, we are spiritual warriors, as you on the surface must become. Because if not, y'all gonna fuck some shit up. A spiritual warrior is one who acknowledges the light within and knows that he or she is here for the purpose of bringing in more light to the earth. Now, what I just read is from the core of the earth, from some people from Telos, who are the ancient Lemurians. Now, this is something else they said to give you insight about this light that you must search. Here in Telos, we are able to see each other's light. We have developed our inner vision through meditation and prayers for aeons until we have reached this stage. Now, aeons are different zodiacs. Now, when we move into different zodiac signs, you are also now on the brink of reaching this stage, the time when you will clearly see the light around you and the light in others, as it reflects the great central sun into the core of your being. Your soul is all light. We talked about this in the source field investigations for a good little while, with the photons and all that, and the kundalini, the electrical current, whatever you want to call it. And when you merge with your I am presence, which Count Saint Germain talked about in his book, The Magic Presence, which is the I am presence, you bring the light from the great central sun into your core, and you shine with the intensity of the great central sun within you. For the great central sun and you are one. So the Holy Quran talks about we are closer to you than your jugular vein. It's talking about the 7 lords mentioned in the Emblem tablets, or the 7 chakras, or the 7 seals, the servant churches, or whatever you want to call it, but this is what it's talking about. Now, going back to Tuesday Law of St. Rample's book, Twilight, picking up where I left off, okay? Now, if the earth will be cracked, even worse, see, they're worried about the earth being cracked. That, right here, let's pick right here, that is why the inner people are concerned, why they are trying to control atomic research in this world. Boom, I just read that shit in Telos, the call goes out from the hollow earth and the ground and the underground cities. I just read it in this book right here. Okay? Now jumping back into Lost Saints Rumble book, Twilight. It says in the chapters of life, you made predictions about events that will occur during the end period of the present world cycle. During this period, do you think the gardeners of the earth will return to weed and prune this tangled and twisted garden? Now, we read about the gardeners. They call themselves the planters in the book Encounters. All right? Or it is more likely they will return after the cataclysm have taken care of most of we weeds. Or it is us weeds. Now, the Bible talking about the harvest, when there will be a weaving between the sheep and the goats. This shit is in all correspondence. All right? It is my belief that the gardeners of earth are getting heartily sick of conditions on this world because, humans basically are getting more and more selfish, and instead of people trying to do each other a good turn, they nowadays seem to be bent for destruction. Now, we read in the book, The Hermit, this book, wherein it says, I protest at the waste of time. I protest that we should use any more endeavors in these faulty creatures. In the past, when a race of them were unsatisfactory, that were exterminated and the planet reseeded. So let us save time and work and exterminate them, not before they pollute space. Okay, so we got this in two different books. Also, in this book, the Holy Quran, there is a part that says it is easy for us to reseed man or recreate man than it is to create a planet. So we know that the God of the Holy Quran is the God of Sirius. We established that. And we know that the Syrian people are, according to the book Encounters, the mothers and fathers of the black people on planet Earth. All right? So we know that they would rather just kill us off, according to the Hermit, because it's easier to reseed us than it is to create a planet. Now, continuing in the book Twilight, concerning the hollow earth, how could it remain so well hidden from such intensive research? The answer is through masterfully misdirection. If you see a blank wall ahead of you and all your tests, including the use of special detectors, etc., convince you that the wall is solid, then you turn elsewhere. And the wall is indeed very well protected, because if one goes down from far enough, one gets to an outpost of the hollow earth. You further ask about the approximate date of the underground tunnels. Well, I say about 1 million years or so ago, because they were made well before Atlantis. They were made when first people went on the ground and into the inner world. In passing, let me say that although a lot of people will screech with laughter at the thought of a hollow earth, let me remind them that for centuries and centuries, people thought that the earth was flat. Now let me say something for all you flat earthers. How in the hell the earth gonna be flat? And all the Egyptians talked about was Amenti, which is in the core of the earth, the hidden world, the subterranean world. Okay? How in the world that's gonna be? How in the hell is it gonna be flat when our ancestors, when the book of Ezekiel said he saw these wheels coming out of earth, proving that it's hollow, that people live inside the earth. Okay? How in the hell is it gonna be hollow when you got people that's in the military that keep their mouths shut, but some of them done said shit, like William Cooper. He said he saw these wheels coming out of the ocean. Hence, Atlantis. Okay? People from Atlantis. Agartha. But anyway, going back what I was saying. Let me remind them that for centuries and centuries, people thought the earth was flat. And if anybody had dared to say that the earth was round, then they would have been taken as insane people. Because they would have said, if this world is round, how could we stand on it? What about the people on the other side of the earth? They would fall off for sure. We know otherwise, don't we? We know the earth is round and not flat. Some of us know that the world is hollow, too. Think of that. Will you? Now, let me see what you say. You say, why would a race of people from outer space want to colonize with the people of this world to produce a tan race. Now, there's a section in the book called Encounters by Dr. Flory. It's called They Want to Mix With Us. Even in the book of Enoch says that these people, these angels that shall descend upon the earth, talking about in the last days, he was saying that they was going to mix with us. And we will have the ability to go from planet to planet because we will have that gene. Our future children will have that gene in them, so they will need a spacesuit once they got on that planet. So, in so many words. But anyway, well, who said there was going to be a colony coming from beyond space? See, Lobs ain't finna talk about the people from inside the inner earth. Just think of this. Get all the white people, the yellow people, the red people, the black people, and any other shade you can scrap up. And them all to intermarry and look at the result. See, this tan race is the golden race, which is I mentioned in the Kundalini that lies dormant within us in that series, that 4-session series. It was talking about the rainbow body or the golden body. And also on where David Wilcox presented that they misinterpreted the word Seclorum or golden age is actually the golden race. And this is even more validation of that, the race of 10. So anyway, would be a race, would be the color. Would the color be 10, of course. So we can get the race of 10. See, he's trying to run from saying that there's going to be nothing but black people on this planet. But I know what the hell he's saying. Because he wanted to skip anything that dealt with racism, for the most part. When we all get the peoples of the world intermarrying, because in those days, color will not matter. It doesn't matter in Brazil nowadays. And if one place is on the face of this earth where the black man and the white man works side by side with no thought whatever of color. All right? He's saying the people of Brazil is already doing this. They will be the first to produce citizens for the race of 10. Talking about the people of Brazil. Then he said, read the book, The Spaceships of Ezekiel by Joseph F. Blumrich. Now let's go before the King of the World. Beasts, Men, and Gods by Ferdinand Ossendowski. Sorry about the false indication of this book as far as like the name, because I said Gerald Ferdinand at one time. But it's Ferdinand Ossendowski. Beasts, Men, and Gods. Okay, this is the chapter that we're going into. Mystery of Mysteries, the King of the World. The Subterranean Kingdom. But I'm going to get straight to the point. Now it is stated that when the King of the World enters, y'all can read this for yourself, enters the surface, everything in nature stops. The birds stop chirping. Shit, you don't hear a cricket make a noise. You won't hear the dogs bark. Nothing. The wind doesn't even blow. Okay, this is what it says basically. I'm just trying to hurry up and get to the point. All right, the favorite Gelong Lama of Prince Choton Bailey and the prince himself gave me an account of the subterranean kingdom. Everything in the world, said Gelong, is constantly in a state of change and transition. People is talking about this subterranean kingdom now. People's science, religions, laws, and customs. How many great empires and brilliant cultures have perished? Break it on down now. And that alone, which remains unchanged, is evil, the tool of bad spirits. More than 60,000 years ago, you're going to talk about the subterranean people now. More than 60,000 years ago, a holy man disappeared with a whole tribe of people under the ground and never appeared again on the surface of the earth. See, this is what Lao Saint was talking about in his book, Twilight. Many people, however, have since visited the kingdom Saki, Muna, Undur, Gagin, Paspa, Khan Barber, and others. No one knows where this place is. One says Afghanistan, others India. All the people there now are protected against evil and crimes do not exist where within its borings. Science has there developed calmly and nothing is threatened with destruction. The subterranean people have reached the highest knowledge. Now it is a large kingdom, millions of men with the king of the world as their ruler. He knows all the forces of the world, and he reads all the souls of mankind in the great book of their destiny, which is the Akashic Records, by the way. Invisibly, he rules 8 million men on the surface of the earth, and they will accomplish his every order. Prince Cholton Bailey added, this kingdom is Agarthy. Hold it for a second so I can show you what it is. One more time. There we have it. The Hollow Earth, Agarthy. Just a little blueprint of it. In the book Messages from the Hollow Earth, basically. Now going back to Beastmen and Gods. Okay, it extends throughout all the subterranean passages of the world. Of the whole world. I heard a learned Lama of China relating to Bogdo Kong that all the subterranean caves of America are inhabited by the ancient people who have disappeared underground. Traces of them are still found on the surface of the land. So it is in the book by Graham Hancock, The Fingerprints of the Gods. He said these are the fingerprints of the gods, these remnants, these statues, these pyramid builders, these pyramids themselves. Okay? He's talking about the black people. These subterranean peoples and spaces are governed by rulers owing allegiance to the king of the world. And there is not much of the wonderful. You know that in the two greatest oceans of the east and the west, there were formerly 2 continents. They talking about Mu now, Atlantis. Oh, they talking about Lemuria and Atlantis. But you still got Mu too, because Mu sunk. It was actually a landmass in the Pacific Ocean. The one that Lao Tsang mentioned in the book Twilight. They disappeared under the water, but their people went into the subterranean kingdom. In underground caves, there exists a peculiar light which affords growth to the grain and vegetables and long life without disease to the people. Okay, I gotta show you something. A peculiar light which affords growth and grains. Now let me show you what he's talking about. Going into the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. I'm gonna let Thoth explain it to you, what he's talking about. All right, deep in the halls of life grew a flower, flaming, expanding, driving backward the night. Placed in the center, a ray of great potence, life-giving, light-giving, filling the power all who came near it. Placed they around its thrones, 32 places for each of the children of light. Placed so that they were bathed in its radiance, filled with the life of the eternal light. See, he's talking about the halls of Amenti, which is the subterranean world. He's talking about this inner light, which is the central sun, because there is a sun in the core of our earth. He goes on to say, time after time, place they their first created bodies so that they may be filled with the spirit of life. 100 years out of each 1,000 must the life-giving light flame forth on their bodies, quickening, awakening the spirit of life. See, this is how they never died. This is how they continue to stay alive in Agarthy. Their bodies continue to regenerate from the photons from this central sun that enters their body. Our sun there's nothing wrong with our sun. It's just that our planet is polluted and the atmosphere is polluted. And our vegetation is polluted. Therefore, we can't intake all the photons in our body like they do. And they just regenerate themselves every day, fully. Like we saw the photon effect in the source field investigation. How a rat that had been injected with alazine had pancreas problems. But it received light, photonic light, from the ultra laser violet beam ray that redirected it from a healthy rat's pancreas to the one that was infected, and it regrew totally to its full capability. So we have this here in connection with that, as far as like the photonic light. So in so many words, they are immortals that live in the core of Earth. Okay, going in this book to prove my point. See, right here. We have known this, and therefore we've adopted to a glorious life as immortal beings experimenting in a human body. See, this is what you on the surface have been doing, although most of you are not aware of this. But it's talking about how pure it is inside that place. Life in Telos is rich and diverse and a joy to live. All right? He's talking about the electric body that I was talking about earlier. Continuing back in the book, Beastmans and Gods. There are many different peoples and many different tribes. The old Buddhist Brahmin in Nepal was carrying out the will of the gods and making a visit to the ancient kingdom of Genghis Simon, where he met a fisherman who ordered him to take place in his boat and sail with him upon the sea. On the third day they reached an island where he met a people having two tongues, which could speak separately in different languages. They showed him particular unfamiliar animals, tortoises with 16 feet and 1 eye, huge snakes with a very tasty flesh, and birds with teeth which caught fish for their masters in the sea. These people told him that they came up from out of the subterranean kingdom and described to him certain parts of the underground country. The Lama, Torgut, traveling with me from Uraga to Peking, gave me further details. The capital of Agartha is surrounded with towns of high priests and scientists. It reminds one of Larsa, where the palace of the Dalai Lama, the Portala, is the top of a mountain covered with monasteries and temples. Now, speaking of the Dalai Lama, we go into Twilight by Lao Tsang Rebel. Once again, Lao Tsang states, some of us true Lamas believe that the Great 13th was the last of the Dalai Lamas. We believe that if the present incumbent to that office has been a true Dalai Lama, he would have done more help for the people of Tibet. I told y'all, the real Dalai Lama went to the underground, which is Shambhala, Agartha. The one that they got now is a fake. The motherfucker is not the real Dalai Lama. All right. The throne of the king of the world is surrounded by millions of incarnated gods. This is the same thing I read in one of the Lao Tsang Rebel books. And I think it's either the Cave of the Ancients or the Third Eye, where he said that he went in this underground. Went underground and he seen incarnations after incarnations of the king of the world. Also, he said he seen an incarnation of himself where he was a Dalai Lama in a past life. They were all made out of gold. They all had the wrinkle up to the T. Every crevice in their face looked exactly like who the person was in real life, or this physical realm. All right. They are the holy Panditas. The palace itself is encircled by the palaces of the Guru, who possesses all the visible and invisible forces of the earth, of inferno and of the sky, and who can do everything for the life and death of man. That sounds like something we just read in the Quran about he has life over death and all this, the Lord of Sirius. All right. If our mad humankind should begin war against them, they will be able to explode the whole surface of our planet and transform it into desert. That sounds like something Elijah Muhammad said, that Farad Muhammad said, that he had the power to separate the oxygen molecules and burst them into flames. Ain't that some shit? They can dry up the seas, transform lands into oceans, and scatter the mountains into the sands of the deserts. By his order, trees, grasses, and bushes can be made to grow. Old and feeble men can become young and stalwart. And the dead can be resurrected. Now I'm going to say something. I know this sounds far-fetched, but I know this for a fact from personal experience, from things that I personally experienced. They have a vibration so high that it can speed up your molecules in your body and cause you to heal. They have within their being, because they are so evolved, their light particles are shining so bright that this light, this electrical current that they give, can cause your dormant cells to awaken and to regenerate themselves. For instance, an organ that is not working, let's say a kidneys fail, they can send their energy, their electrical current, static, in that organ and regenerate it. This is what he's saying. Okay. I know this shit. I got personal experience. And the dead can be resurrected. The cars, strange and unknown to us, they can rush through the narrow cleavages inside our planet. Some Indian Brahmins and Tibetan Dalai Lamas, during their laborious struggles to the peak of the mountains, which no other human feet had trod, have found their inscriptions carved on the rocks, footprints in the snow, and the tracks of wheels. This blissful Shakya Muni found on one mountaintop tablets of stone carrying words which he only understood in his old age, and afterwards penetrated into the kingdom of Agartha, from which he brought back crumbs of the sacred learning preserved in his memory. There in palaces of wonderful crystal live the invisible rulers of all pious people, the king of the world, or Brahma, who can speak with God as I speak with you, and his two assistants, Maitma, knowing the purpose of future events, and Mayenga, ruling the causes of these events. The holy pendulous study the world and all its forces. Sometimes the most learnt among them collect together and send envoys to that place where the human eye has never penetrated. This is described by the Tashi Lama living 850 years ago. The highest pentals place their hands on their eyes and at the base of the brain of younger ones and force them into a deep sleep, wash their bodies with infusion of grass and make them immune to pain, harder than stone, wrap them in magic cloths, bind them, and then pray to the great God. The petrified youths lie with eyes and ears open and alert, seeing, hearing, and remembering everything. Afterwards, a guru approaches and fastens a long, steady gaze upon them. Very slowly, the bodies lift themselves from the earth and disappear. The guru sits and stares with fixed eyes to the place whither he has sent them. Invisible threads join them to his will. Some of them course among the stars. Observe their events, their unknown peoples, their life and their laws. They listen to their talk, read their books, understand their fortunates and foes, their holiness and sins, their piety and evil. Some are mingled with flame and see the creatures of fire, quick and ferocious, eternally fighting, melting and hammering metal in the fire, or in the depths of planets, boiling the water for geysers and springs, melting the rocks and pushing out molten streams over the surface of the earth through the holes in the mountains. Others rush together with the ever elusive and infinitesimally small, transparent creatures of the air and penetrate into the mysteries of their existence and into the purpose of their life. Others slip into the depths of the sea and observe the kingdom of the wise creatures of the water, who transport and spread gentle warmth all over the earth, ruling the winds, waves, and storms. In Erdini, Zu formerly lived Pentia Hututu, who came from Agartha. As he was dying, he told about the time when he lived according to the will of the Guru on a red star in the east, floated in the ice-covered ocean, and flew amongst the stormy fires in the depths of the earth. These are the tales which I learnt in the Mongolian, but yurtas of princes in the Lamanite monasteries. These stories were all related in a solemn tone which forbade challenge and doubt. Now we shall dwell into this, the king of the world before the face of God. Y'all want to read that? Go ahead. But I'm finna get strictly to some key points. Well, listen. He continued, throughout the whole year, the king of the world guides the work of the Pandavas and gurus of Agartha. Only at times he goes to the temple cave where the embalmed body of his predecessor lies in a black stone coffin. This cave is always dark, but when the king of the world enters, its walls are stripped with fire. From the lid of the coffin appears tongues of flame. The oldest guru stands before him with covered head and face, and with hands folded across his chest. This guru never removes the covering from his face, for his face is a nude skull with living eyes and a tongue that speaks. He is in communion with the souls of all who have gone before. The king of the world prays for a long time, and afterwards approaches the coffin and stretches out his hand. The flames therein burn brighter. The strips of fire on the walls disappear and revive, interlace and form mysterious signs from the alphabet Vatanin. All right, y'all got to read the rest of that on y'all own. But anyway, the coffin transports brands of scarcely noticeable light. So anyway, this is the king of the world. All right, this is what you get. The truth about hell. Until then, peace.